Have you ever wondered how a kid from New York with a dream and an extraordinary voice became one of the most beloved R&B singers of all time? Luther Vandross didn't just sing songs, he created moments. His music became the soundtrack to first dances, weddings, heartbreaks, and memories that have lasted for generations. Yet behind the smooth vocals and sold-out concerts was a man who spent years fighting for recognition, battling personal and health challenges, and striving for perfection in everything he did. This is the story of Luther Vandross, from his humble beginnings to his rise as a music legend, and what really happened in the final years of his remarkable life. Luther Vandross Jr. was born on April 20th, 1951, in Manhattan, New York City. He was the youngest of 4 children born to Luther Vandross Sr. and Mary Ida Vandross. His father worked as an upholsterer and singer, while his mother worked as a nurse. Music was always present in the household, and young Luther quickly developed a deep love for singing. However, his childhood was marked by tragedy when his father passed away from complications related to diabetes when Luther was only 8 years old. The loss profoundly affected him and left his mother to raise the family on her own. The family moved to the Bronx when Luther was 9 years old, and that's where he found comfort in music. He became fascinated by artists such as Aretha Franklin, Dionne Warwick, Patti LaBelle, and Marvin Gaye. He spent hours listening to records and studying vocal arrangements. Even as a child, he demonstrated a remarkable ability to hear harmonies and recreate them. Friends and family quickly realized that he possessed a rare musical gift. As a teenager, Luther attended William Howard Taft High School. During this time, he formed a vocal group called Shades of Jade. The group allowed him to develop his skills as both a singer and arranger. Those who worked with him noticed his perfectionist tendencies early. Luther demanded excellence from himself and those around him, often spending countless hours refining vocal performances until they met his high standards. After high school, Luther briefly attended Western Michigan University. However, he soon realized that his future was in music, not academics. He left college and pursued a career in the music industry full-time. Like many aspiring artists, his journey was far from easy. For years, he worked behind the scenes, often receiving little public recognition despite his extraordinary talent. Throughout the 1970s, Luther became one of the most respected background vocalists and vocal arrangers in the music business. His voice could be heard on recordings by artists such as Roberta Flack, Donna Summer, Chaka Khan, Carly Simon, Barbra Streisand, Bette Midler, and Quincy Jones. One of the most significant opportunities of his early career came when he worked with David Bowie on the album Young Americans. Luther not only contributed background vocals, but also helped shape the album's vocal arrangements. Bowie was so impressed by Luther's talent that he frequently praised him publicly. During this period, Luther also worked with the group Change. Songs such as Searching and The Glow of Love introduced his voice to audiences around the world. While these recordings gave him exposure, Luther wanted more than a supporting role. He dreamed of creating music under his own name and telling stories through his own voice. That dream became reality in 1981 with the release of his debut solo album, Never Too Much. The title track exploded onto the charts and instantly established Luther as a major force in R&B music. The album was certified platinum and introduced the world to his signature style, smooth vocals, emotional storytelling, and impeccable production. Never Too Much remains one of the most celebrated songs in R&B history and continues to be played around the world decades later. The success of his debut album launched an extraordinary run of releases. In 1982, he followed up with Forever, For Always, For Love, which included fan favorites such as Bad Boy, Having a Party. In 1983, he released Busy Body, featuring his acclaimed interpretations of Superstar and A House Is Not a Home. These albums demonstrated not only his vocal brilliance, but also his ability to connect emotionally with listeners. The mid-1980s brought even greater success. Albums such as The Night I Fell in Love and Give Me the Reason cemented Luther's reputation as one of the leading voices in R&B. Hits like Stop to Love dominated the charts and showcased his ability to blend romantic themes with sophisticated musical arrangements. By this point, Luther Vandross had become one of the most successful R&B artists in the world. As his fame grew, so did recognition from the music industry. Throughout the 1980s, Luther received numerous Grammy nominations and became a regular presence at major award ceremonies. Although he was widely respected, many fans and critics believed he deserved more recognition than he was receiving. Despite the nominations, major Grammy victories initially remained elusive. However, Luther's trophy shelf was already filling up. He became a dominant force at the American Music Awards, winning Favorite Soul R&B Male Artist multiple times. His success with audiences was undeniable, and year after year he remained one of the genre's most popular performers. He also became a frequent winner at the Soul Train Music Awards, where his contributions to R&B and soul music were celebrated by both fans and industry peers. The late 1980s and early 1990s marked another important chapter in his career. Albums such as Any Love and Power of Love produced some of his most enduring songs. In 1991, Luther earned his first Grammy Award for Best Male R&B Vocal Performance for Here and Now. The victory represented a major milestone after years of nominations and solidified his status as one of the greatest vocalists of his generation. The following year brought another Grammy triumph when he won Best Male R&B Vocal Performance for Power of Love, Love Power. The song became one of the defining recordings of his career and further demonstrated his ability to create timeless music that resonated across generations. Throughout the 1990s, Luther continued releasing successful albums and collecting honors. Never Let Me Go, Songs, This Is Christmas, and Your Secret Love all received critical acclaim. In 1997, he won another Grammy Award for Best Male R&B Vocal Performance for Your Secret Love. By this point, he had established himself as one of the most awarded and respected figures in R&B music. His achievements extended beyond the Grammys. Luther received multiple NAACP Image Awards, recognizing both his artistic accomplishments and his impact within the African American community. He also continued to win Soul Train Music Awards, reflecting his enduring popularity among R&B audiences. In 1999, he received the prestigious Soul Train Quincy Jones Award for Career Achievement, honoring his extraordinary contributions to music and culture. Luther's collaborations also became a defining part of his legacy. One of his most beloved duets was Endless Love with Mariah Carey. Their version of the classic song became a major hit and showcased the incredible chemistry between two of the most gifted vocalists in modern music. Luther also worked with Gregory Hines, Diana Ross, Beyoncé, and many other notable artists throughout his career. In 2003, he collaborated with Beyoncé on The Closer I Get to You. The duet earned widespread praise and later won a Grammy Award. The collaboration introduced Luther to a younger generation of listeners while demonstrating that his voice remained as powerful and relevant as ever. Despite his enormous success, Luther remained intensely private about his personal life. He never married and had no children. While there was often public speculation about his relationships, he chose not to discuss many aspects of his personal life publicly. Instead, he focused on his music, family, and close friendships. Those who knew him described him as generous, funny, loyal, and deeply caring. Luther was also committed to philanthropy. He supported numerous charitable causes throughout his life, particularly organizations focused on health, education, and community development. He often donated quietly without seeking publicity. Friends and colleagues frequently spoke about his generosity and willingness to help others behind the scenes. Although his career continued to flourish, Luther faced significant health challenges. He struggled with weight fluctuations for much of his adult life and often found himself the subject of media attention regarding his appearance. These struggles were compounded by diabetes and hypertension, both of which posed serious risks to his long-term health. Despite these challenges, Luther continued recording and performing. In 2003, he released what would become one of the most important albums of his career, Dance with My Father. The title track was deeply personal, Inspired by memories of his father and the profound loss he experienced as a child, the song touched millions of listeners and became one of the most emotional recordings of his career. Shortly after completing the album, tragedy struck. In April 2003, Luther suffered a severe stroke at his home. The stroke left him hospitalized and in critical condition. He spent nearly 2 months in a coma, and fans around the world prayed for his recovery. Although he eventually regained consciousness, the stroke had a devastating impact on his health, affecting his mobility and speech. Even during this difficult period, recognition continued to pour in. At the 2004 Grammy Awards, Luther experienced one of the greatest triumphs of his career. Dance with My Father earned Song of the Year, one of the most prestigious honors in music. He also won Best Male R&B Vocal Performance, Best R&B Song, and Best R&B Album. His duet with Beyoncé earned another Grammy victory, making it one of the most successful periods of recognition in his career. By the end of his life, Luther Vandross had accumulated 8 Grammy Awards, dozens of Grammy nominations, multiple American Music Awards, numerous Soul Train Music Awards, NAACP Image Awards, and countless other honors. More importantly, he had earned the respect of his peers and the love of millions of fans around the world. Sadly, Luther never fully recovered from the effects of his stroke. On July 1, 2005, he passed away at the age of 54 due to complications related to the stroke he had suffered 2 years earlier. News of his death devastated fans and fellow artists alike. Tributes poured in from across the music world, celebrating a man whose voice had touched countless lives. At the time of his passing, Luther Vandross had an estimated net worth of approximately $40 million. His wealth was built through album sales, songwriting, touring, producing, and decades of success in the music industry. Yet his greatest legacy was never financial. It was the music he created and the emotions he shared with the world. Today, Luther Vandross remains one of the most influential vocalists in music history. His songs continue to be played at weddings, family gatherings, celebrations, and moments of reflection. Artists across multiple genres still cite him as an inspiration. His commitment to excellence, emotional honesty, and vocal mastery set a standard that few have matched. Luther Vandross was more than an award-winning singer. He was a storyteller, a perfectionist, a mentor, a philanthropist, and a musical visionary. His journey from a young music lover in Manhattan to one of the greatest R&B legends of all time is a testament to talent, determination, and perseverance. Though he is no longer here, his voice continues to inspire new generations and remind us of the power of music to connect people across time and place. If you enjoyed learning about the life and legacy of Luther Vandross, please take a moment to like this video, share it with fellow music lovers, and leave a comment below telling us your favorite Luther Vandross song or memory. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss another in-depth documentary on the artists and legends who shaped music history.